this is Sibyl Harmony, and this is how to create what you want, or predictions for 2025. I find it interesting. Some things are written in stone, of course, but here's my dog over here. Hey, boy. Some things are written in stone, and some things we are always creating. And it depends on where you are, how you see it. What does that mean? Well, I'll explain. But I have 8 things that messages that came through for the year 2025. And we're going to talk about how to help you create what you want. So a lot of it is about your perspective. So if you believe something and you proclaim it out loud, and then you take actions toward it, you can create it. If you tell your body, I'm sick, or you tell yourself, I'm broke, or it's going to be bad. So pain happens. Suffering is optional. Okay. So some people, depending on where you are, think it's going to be a great year. If you're in America and you're a MAGA, you think this is going to be amazing. This is going to be great. America's going to be made great again. And so you're believing that. Now, how much that you may see otherwise, which, the denial is there for a reason. Or if you're on the left and you lost the election, you might be saying, well, this is going to be really bad. Okay. Yes, there are some things that are going to happen that this new administration has talked about. But if you allow someone to steal your safety is your power. Then you're a victim. Then you have nothing. So, I'll explain a little bit more about that. We have, of course, extreme weather, a time of focusing on the self this year, healing the self, taking back your power, not being a victim. So how do you do that? Well, we'll explain a little bit about that here. So AI, we are coming into a time of new technology that can serve us, or technology that can take us over. So these may be the years of the last pure humans, if people elect to, get chips put in their brain, or bionic legs, or whatever. So AI and healthcare. So I'm using some of the new technology and doing, there's new technology coming out that is not really about so much the big pharma. And so that is coming out more. We'll be hearing more about that, which is actually good news. Technology that's used to assist us. Okay. So this is a time of our abilities opening, of hearts opening, connecting with people, and looking at what we really value. And so we'll get into all of these a little bit more. The truth coming out, taking back your power, and what I talked about, safety, and planting seeds of strength for what you want, because this is an ending year. So the ending, it's a 9. 2 and 5 equal 9. So this is an ending year. 9 is the highest number, and 10 is actually a 1 and a 0. So it's actually a 1. Or yeah, it's 10 is a 1. So 10 is where we start over again. So we'll be planting seeds for what we want to create next year. And let's see. And so I'll be talking a little bit more about how to create what you want. Okay. So let's, so this is the time of the oligarchies, and also with the new cabinet coming in. and you can look at the appointment picks in America. And it's also a time of power to the people, where we see in other countries where people have taken back their governments or attempted to. But this is just the beginning energy, the beginning of government or world by people, where people are empowered, and it isn't a small percent of one group controlling everybody, manipulating everybody, controlling the mainstream media, big pharma, big oil, big insurance. So that is very clear. And so we'll go to truth coming out. So more truth will be coming out about who's really doing what. And it may be quite shocking for some people when they find out, wow, this isn't what I voted for, or this isn't what they said was going to happen. But this is the very beginning. And it may even be a beginning for some people, depending on where you are. We'll talk more about where you are. Your values are where you are. Let me go backwards. Let me digress here. So if we talked about, if you're a Democrat, you might believe this is going to be horrible. So what I said was that pain happens, suffering is optional. So I have some people that I'm working with that in advance of whether 45 gets in or not, he may not even get in. He may not live that long. That is really dicey, that he actually gets in and then stays for the whole 4 years. I don't see it. And so, but there will be fighting. But so if you're, so some of my people that I'm working with had their pain in advance, freaked out in advance, had a nervous breakdown, whatever, because he won. And you don't even know if he's going to be inaugurated. I'd say the percentage is that, let's see, does he get inaugurated? How does it look now? Because energy is always changing. Does he get inaugurated on the 20th? I don't feel like he will be inaugurated on the 20th. Is it delayed? Yeah. Is he inaugurated in later January, February? Could be a February inauguration. So with the health issues and the energy around, he's already had 2 assassination attempts. So a lot of people really don't like him. And a lot of people pretend to like him because they want the tax cuts or they want to be in charge. So there's already battles brewing. But back to what I was saying about my client. So you're already freaked out and having a nervous breakdown because you think he might get in there, and he may not even get in there. I'm not saying I don't feel like that's decided. There's too much energy on that. But I've seen people just freaking losing their minds and insisting that, well, he is going to get in or he isn't going to get in. And I don't think that is known. What is known is that he's on a really bumpy road. I mean, this is the first time we've had a felon president who wants to destroy the government he's supposed to be taking care of. And some people think, this is the beginning of a golden age. And for them, it could be, if they believe it enough and they're in that space, they could create for themselves more prosperity. And he knows that. That's why he plays that, but he does it in a really narcissistic, maybe not really honest way of telling people that everything's great when it's not, saying it's night when it's day, and people believe it. And so that's very powerful for a lot of people. So it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out, because everything in 2025 is about our evolution. How are we growing up as humans, growing up emotionally, growing up, taking back our power, and having a world that has enough for everybody and peace for everyone, which is really what we're meant to be. But this is more like Earth is like the school of the opposite. Everything's the opposite. Most of everything that's told to us has not been true by corporations, by whoever's selling you stuff. Most of it is not even true. So this is about, back to my theme, truth coming out. Okay. So if you are a Democrat, you can feel like, oh my God, it has to be awful because you believe that it's going to, I mean, barring that if you're deported, that's obviously going to affect you, but will you get deported or not? So let me back up and explain. So when you're in 3D, you're living in the physical world. 3D is the energy of you're a meat suit and then you die. And, dog eat dog, climb to the top of the ladder. Whoever has the most toys wins. Whoever has the most, which is a very limited physical way of looking, a very material way that a lot of our world, especially in America, programs people to believe that's what's real. That couldn't be farther than the truth, because everything is vibrating energy. We are only here temporarily. Everything, like your physical body, is in some Carillion photography or quantum psychics quantum science has proven that we are energy in a physical body. And so when your energy leaves the body, your spirit leaves the body no longer exists. So where does the body go? Well, that's the beginning of what we are here to learn. And this is a great year to learn that and take back your power and stop giving away the truth coming out, giving away your ability to discern what is true and what is not. We don't know that. Most people don't know that because because denial is there for a reason, and because you've been brainwashed. And that's hard to hear. Who wants to hear that? A lot of us don't want to change. We want to, can you just go back to the way it was? Because the change is scary, but the change is here. You're here to change and grow up in Earth School. And this is a big year of opportunities for growth for you. And so if you are believing in maybe like fourth dimensional is the ability to create and manifest what you want. It's a belief in spirit and energy, in that there's something out there that I can look at myself or heal myself or ask questions like, why am I here? What is this all about? Okay. So that's more of a fourth, is like in between third and fifth. And we can bounce in between any one of these states if we're working on ourselves. Okay. And so the fifth dimension is where you don't need to manifest it because it's already here. It's more like the other side, where you think about something, you proclaim it, and it is. Okay. So when you are in alignment with yourself and your spirit, things will go better. Things you can spontaneously heal. You are connected to wisdom and truth. You understand more of like you can see that's a lie, that is truth, you are not asleep, which is third dimension, is sleeping. It's on automatic. Okay. So what the goal is then is to become more awakened, to become self-determining, to empower ourselves, to not be a victim. And so the ways that you can do that, that would be another video. But basically, I would say through doing your own self-examination, meditation is a great way to wake up. Prayer, there are meditative like activities like yoga or qigong, doing art, doing music. When an artist is involved in a creation, they're connecting with something divine, with a higher part of themselves. If you love mathematics, and that is, you're connecting with that, or you're connecting with this part of you that loves to cook, or that's really in love with an open heart, that is of service to yourself and others. If you are understanding how to take back your power so that you have boundaries and wisdom. These are all things that happen when you meditate and pray and get a healing. And this is, I'm explaining it, but you really have to experience it. And what you start to wake up sometimes in dreams, or you'll start to see numbers. That's a sign spirit is contacting you. Your higher self spirit is contacting you through numbers, through coincidences. And this is how you can keep yourself safe when you are more grounded and more present in the moment. And 2025 is going to require you to be grounded and present. Then you're able to affect the physical world rather than being the effect of. So, will policies happen that affect the economy? Could the economy in America go down? Yes. Does it have to affect you? Not so much. I remember in 2008, people were losing their homes, their savings, and I actually did quite well. I went and bought a dog. Seems like I always get a dog when I feel like there's a change coming. But I refused to live in that fear, and I followed guidance. I was like, okay, walk me through this. Show me what to do. So how does that happen? Isn't that like a miracle? You can do a miracle. I'm just a person who's experienced miracles and made my life's passion and past lives passion to understand who we are and what we are doing here. We're not here to save the whole world. We're here to save ourselves. And in that, we lift everyone up around us. Okay, so there was a time, I'll tell you some stories about me. Well, there was 2008, when I actually did quite well. And I was able to be there for people who were struggling. And I noticed that when people lost money, they started looking for other answers then the answers came. So if you need to get the answer to why are you here and who are you and what really matters, then you may need to lose money. That may be one way, or create a health condition. That may be some ways that spirit or your higher self gets your attention of what really matters and why are you here. Okay? Not that money is bad, and certainly health is good. Well, let me just explain some ways that I was assisted, and things that can happen. Okay? And that's the energy of 2025, is flipping this seed of planting. They showed me 2 oak tree acorns, and they're saying plant the acorns. So the tree drops the acorns. The oak tree is a symbol of strength. Plant what is going to make you strong. Okay. If maybe you don't know what that is. Okay. So, but that's what Spirit's showing me for 2025, for this ending year. Plant so that next year in the beginning, you have things sprouting, and you can have at least two things. Sometimes we do one, like one hobby, one thing. Okay. Maybe planting a garden, maybe friendships, maybe joining groups, maybe doing community service, maybe training for a new skill. So plant the seeds that will make you strong in the future. Okay, but let me go back to the story of what I was talking about, the miracle. So years ago, my appendix burst. Okay, and I have still a little bit of an ego, and I believed that I could heal myself from anything. And so my appendix burst, and my guides were saying, you probably should go to the doctor. And I was like, okay, I'll do it when I'm not busy. Okay. And so I kind of pushed, I didn't listen to guidance, which is not a good idea, because we need medical science. Doctors and nurses save lives. I have great respect for them. So my appendix burst, and I walked around for like 2 months. It really hurt when it burst, but then it kind of subsided and would kind of come and go. But I thought, well, I'm healing it. And so a miracle happened. I went to the hospital, and I said, well, I have this pain in my abdomen, and can you tell me what's going on? It doesn't seem to go away. And they're like, oh my God, you need emergency surgery. Your appendix burst. I'm like, okay, that happened 2 months ago, and I've been walking around, and that's like impossible. How can that happen? And that's not the first time things like that have happened to me. And I'm not suggesting anybody don't go to the doctor. Please, if you're having pain, go and get checked. You know, take care of yourself. Don't do what I do. Do what I say. So I'm very stubborn, and I know this about myself. So I went immediately to surgery, and a little butterfly appeared in the parking lot, and one of its wings was gone. And I thought, and it couldn't fly. And I thought, oh my God, you're going to die. And that's what I felt like it was happening to me. And I went through this whole surgery thing, and I got to see what it was like to be in a hospital, which I never want to go back to. I knew, anyway, I lived. My guides walked me through it. That's a miracle. So that is living in 5D. It's not like everything's going to be amazing, fairy, love, light. You're never going to have a problem. It's like, but it is miracles. You can believe that or not. That happened to me. So, and I became closer to my guides and more grateful, because when you have a near-death experience, which I almost died in surgery and a couple times afterwards, but this happened to me when I wrote my book. I walked up on the hill, and I saw Jesus on the hill in 2012, and he said, you can go home now if you want. I said, could I stay? So in other words, I am given, a lot of times people die and they say you have to go back and do something. I am given permission to leave, but I chose to stay because I knew I had some work to do. Now, that is being in 5D. It's being in our utmost integrity, which isn't easy in this world. Be of service to others, loving yourself, knowing yourself, and cleaning up maybe any mistakes you made. Because everything, when you cross over, everything you did to other people, you will feel it 100 times more. I'm like, uh-oh. So it isn't like I was some pure spiritual, just want to be here of service. Yeah, I do. But I'm also like, yeah, I think I better clean up some stuff a little, maybe, because you got to understand that you could be a psychic or a healer or a medium or be a talented artist or politician, whatever, and do some good stuff. Everybody has their stuff. Just because you have a gift or you're connected or something, and everybody can connect and have a gift if you just look for what it is and develop it. But everybody, okay, so, but yeah, okay, so I'm going to go back to what I was talking about here. Sorry if I cut off, I'm channeling and it kind of got off track a little bit. But yeah, so focusing on yourself through meditation and prayer, okay, is a great way to develop yourself and to heal yourself and to evolve, which is why you are here. Now, AI and healthcare. So this may be a time when the last pure humans are here. I understand some people put chips in their pets. I think it's like kind of weird. I'm like, I know you don't want your dog to run away, but maybe like train your dog or don't make your dog afraid of you, or, develop a heart connection with your dog. The dog won't run away. I guess someone could steal the dog, but I mean, I guess that's debatable. There is technology that can support us and help us. There are now lasers that can go in and do laser surgery. There's a lot more with sound and light and frequency. I know because I'm doing that. In my personal life, I do that. Now, before I would go, I mean, when I do readings, I do psychic readings and mediumship. But sometimes in those readings and mediumship, I help people to create things or heal things. And so I was like, yeah, I don't need that because I am doing that, or the guides actually are doing that through me. But when I tried the technology, I was like, wow, this is really cool. And so I looked at it like in Star Wars, they had the little R2D2 and CP3O. They had assistants. I'm like, I could use assistants. So now I'm using that. Okay. So look for more of this coming out while the the drug companies are pushing record profits. I actually had a family member who will be nameless, who has some kind of a mast cell activation issue. And she was given years ago an anti-anxiety medication, Xanax. Well, turns out it's really hard to get off that stuff. And it can cause early onset of dementia, and it can actually create the illness that she has. But then they say it's the drug to treat it. So it's like you're trapped in this weird paradigm of, now there are drugs, so people need to take their heart meds or their diabetes medication. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying be careful with what you're taking. I remember years ago, I herniated my stomach and I went to the doctors, and I was doing pretty much healing work then. I was doing pretty good, but my family convinced me to call the doctor. So, I'm reluctant about that because I just don't do very well with mainstream medicine. But So I called them and they said, well, you need antacids. And they prescribed me an antacid. And I intuitively knew, no, I don't. And I healed myself. And now that antacid is being sued for causing stomach cancer. So a lot of truths like this can come out. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying don't go to the doctor. I'm not saying don't take your medication. I'm just saying be careful. Know what you're taking and know the side effects. And so and free Luigi. I love that guy. And not that, I'm sorry that it had to come to murder. I don't condone that. I don't condone violence. But the person that was killed was a mass murderer too. A thief and a mass murderer. And that kind of truth needs to come out and it needs to stop. Hopefully it stops peacefully, but I guess people feel like, it's not, so they're angry. Anyway, there's a good video out, a good show out, Status Quo. I like them. They're also talking about the Amazon workers. So this is a time of unions getting stronger. Now, it depends on what state you're living in too. Like in California, we're more protected. Actually, California Covered is actually pretty good. I used to have like a $10 monthly charge for California Covered. So depends on what state you're in. I love nurses and doctors, but I'm not really thrilled about the medical system. But I was happy to have that coverage. So how will coverage be in the future? And that looks like it's dependent upon your state. And there's going to be big fights over all of this, this is the beginning, remember, the beginning of the time of the people taking back their power. And I saw decades from now that we will live in a world where everything is shared and there isn't a top oligarchy and then everyone else suffering. Okay? Where there is war, where there is very much integrity, which is unusual for Earth because but right now we're like the planet of the opposites. Okay, so opening up gifts, opening up your clairvoyance, your clairaudience. So that can be done through meditation, through prayer, through healing techniques that I teach in my sessions and in my classes. So people's heart opening. There's going to be a lot of really intense storms. And so if you can serve your community or be there for your neighbors, and it's not really like, where's the safe place to go, but who are the safe people that you're connecting and helping out other people. Like there was just a big tornadoes in the South in December. There will be a big earthquake in probably Pacific Northwest and Pacific Island areas. There's going to be really big earthquakes this year. Extreme weather, fires, cold, heat. So preparing and, being in alignment. So remember, your safety comes from inside. When you are safe inside, you know who you are present, then you're in your power and you're better able to deal with the 3D outside world and navigate through it. Okay. And so that's one skill that we may be learning, certainly being there for our neighbors and other people when they're going through difficult situations that are going to come up, like extreme weather. So it's interesting, I was listening to some supporters of 45 saying that, yeah, the economy's going to be great and everything, but not really the environment, like kind of goes together there.
So there may be a big wake up for some, lots of people are going to be waking up to what is truth. And all this programming, mass media, garbage stuff is just like, people are angry, and we're starting to wake up, which is really what's going to guide us to a better place. Okay. So how to create what you want in this year. So I use energy tools, proclaiming it, believing it, prayer, visualizing, and the tools that I use also are very helpful, but also asking for what you want and then following the guidance of the steps that you're being told through your feelings, your thoughts. Could be a song you hear, a rainbow, a bird. So tuning into, how do I have better health? How am I more prosperous? So if you're in a prosperity vibe, you might like, maybe the car doesn't break down, and when it does, it's easily fixed. Or I remember years ago, I had put my son in a treatment program, and he was using drugs, and it was paid for by insurance. And so I said, great, let's do this. So I put him in the treatment program. Well, they called me like a month later and they said, your insurance is not covering this and you owe us $70,000. And I was like, what? I don't have that. How is that possible? And I started praying about it. I'm like, come on now, help me out here. Help me out, guys. And after a couple phone calls, I was on the phone with this lady, and she says, hold on a minute. And she comes back and she goes, ma'am. And I'm like, what? She's like, this has been handled. Don't worry, it's been taken care of. I was like, what? I don't know the money. And she goes, no, we're going to cover it. I was like, okay. Now, I'm not saying something good. I mean, this is just, when I know it seems silly, like how to believe in miracle energy. How can these things happen? How can you have an appendix burst and walk around and still be alive? How do how does your car break down and then somebody pulls over and just helps you and fixes it, and then they're gone and you owe them nothing? How does that happen? How do you owe a lot of money and then they come on and they go, it's all right? What is that? That is a miracle. That is 5D. That is believing and having faith, which some people think, oh, that's silly. You're not, practical. You're not reasonable. I'm not saying to be impractical. I'm not saying, we still need to get up in the morning and go to work or pay the bills, or, we need to act as if the physical world is real, because we live in the physical world. But to create in 2025 is going to be much easier for you, because it's time. The year of creating what you want. Plant those seeds. Thank you so much. It really helps me. It's completely free if you subscribe. Check out, join my memberships if you're into that. Thank you so much for watching till the end of the video. I am sending you so much love and prayers for an amazing, enlightening opportunities and peaceful healing year for you. And so it is.